Robinson heaving one down the sideline, and he's got Cass over the top. Takes it down the sideline. Touchdown. His signature move and his signature performance. BBall one more time. 58 yards this time.
You're listening to the Bruin Bible. This is your host, Will Decker, bringing you UCLA football content all throughout the year for LA Football Network.
What is up, and welcome to another edition of the Bruin Bible. Will Decker, your host. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing the podcast. We are brought to you guys today by our advertisers. Our advertisers are Bell to Bell Fitness, Shea Tor, a realtor out in Arizona, former Bruin alum, and my main man, Howard Chang, a realtor right here in Los Angeles. Let's go through them, guys. Bell to Bell Fitness is a boxing gym on the West Coast used by their FIT acronym, Fight Inspired Training. My main man, Tony Gonzalez, was the boxing coach for UCLA for over 10 years. He has built this gym on the West Side to learn how to boxing, stay in shape, and get you all the essentials you need to become somebody that is obsessed with boxing and fitness. Make sure to check it out. Go into Bell to Bell Fitness and say you heard about it from the Bruin Bible, and you're going to get a free session with Tony Gonzalez. So make sure to check that out. Shea Tor, my main man. Shea Tor is a licensed real estate agent in Arizona and a lifelong Bruin. He's a current Wooden Athletic Fund donor and football season ticket holder. When not selling houses or going to UCLA games, he loves to travel the country, checking out different arenas, ballparks, and stadiums. If you're looking to make the move to Arizona or know someone who is, please reach out to our loyal friend, Mr. Shea Tor. His phone number is 602-487-3975. Once again, his number is 602-487-3975. Make sure to check that out. And then the local realtor we got out here, Howard Chang. Howard Chang is a local realtor with the Serene team at eXp Realty. Their team has an office right here in Culver City, though they help clients buy and sell homes all over the LA County and the surrounding areas. Howard and his team do a ton of business and are super in tune with the market, knowing winning strategies to give their clients a competitive advantage, have amazing vendor referrals, are a one-stop shop for anything real estate, and just provide a ton of value for their clients. Howard and his partner, Kyle Draper, are UCLA alums and a huge fans of the UCLA football and basketball programs. You will often see them at games, tailgating and networking, and staying involved with the UCLA alumni community. They would love to help any fellow alumni with accomplishing their real estate goals. So if you guys have any real estate needs in the LA area, look no further. Howard is your guy. All right, guys, we're going to go into the episode. What is up, Southern California? 1090 ESPN, the Mightier, here with the Cook crossover. I got Jamal Madden to my right, the main man, Wayne Cook, in the house. Guys, it is about to be the weekend. There's a lot of fun stuff going on. And UCLA got some great news this week, both on the football field and the basketball court. We're going to talk to Wayne about his opinions on what he saw throughout spring, what stood out, what was the most important things, from spring practice that the fans can take away as we had to do our first season in the Big Ten. But I'm going to pass the rock here to my main man, Madman, to kind of lead us off here when it comes to the basketball commit we just got. McDonald's All-American Trent Perry, local kid out of Harvard Westlake, was the LA Times Player of the Year within Los Angeles, committing to UCLA after briefly being committed to USC. This is huge, and it's capped a monumental offseason for Mick Cronin. What does this mean for UCLA basketball moving forward, Madman?
Yeah, huge day, Will, and just a culmination of an incredible offseason of momentum for Mick Cronin. This is now two direct out of high school recruits, both upper echelon, top end, and now the 6 transfer portal guys, to couple that with returning starters like Mack, Stefanovic, Ademara, and you're talking about a team now that is absolutely loaded going into next season. Will, this is sort of a reinforcement of the fact that UCLA's NIL in basketball is top 3. You're talking Duke, Kentucky, UCLA in terms of the number of prestigious NBA alumni from these various 3 schools now pooling in to really sort of spearhead the NIL, and it absolutely shows. In terms of Trent Perry, you mentioned it, 4-star recruit, 2-time state champion with Harvard Westlake, LA Times Player of the Year, Gatorade California Player of the Year, basically has won every accolade in the state of California when it comes to basketball, really the prized recruit this year. And now he not only do you take him from USC, not only do you flip him with the likes of a Kobe Johnson, but now you're starting to build that pipeline, Will, into Harvard Westlake. Let's remember Johnny Juzang was a Harvard Westlake player, went to Kentucky, now back to UCLA. This now can become a really significant pipeline for UCLA basketball, much in the way St. John's Bosco is for UCLA football, modern day has been for USC football historically, because when you talk about probably the preeminent academic high school in Los Angeles, it is Harvard Westlake. And so to pair it with the preeminent academic college in Los Angeles, it's a match made in heaven, both athletically and academically. UCLA now pole vaults here, Will, in terms of Final Four aspirations next season, and now becomes this perennial dominant team in basketball year over year, where the expectations are national championships. So Trent Perry coming over, huge for this particular class, but also signifies so much more beyond. He seems absolutely thrilled. And anytime you can pluck a player from across town, that's now 2 for 2 for the Bruins. Mick Cronin is on fire this offseason.
Yeah, he has absolutely killed it for UCLA fans. We have a lot more basketball content coming for you guys this year, so stay tuned on that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Wayne, I want to talk to you about the latest transfer we just got from the University of Washington, Demaricus Davis. This is a guy, local product, went to Etiwanda High School, and this was a guy that, Kalen DeBoer, before he bolted to Alabama, had kind of handpicked as one of the successors to Michael Penix Jr. and what they had going at Washington, a team that just fell short of a national championship against the University of Michigan Wolverines. I've seen the tape. We already have 2 quarterbacks coming in as well with him. Hasselbeck, I think Matt and Tim's relation to this young Hasselbeck kid, Henry Hasselbeck from Massachusetts. And we got Carson Cox, a kid coming in here as well. Wayne, the quarterback room is stocked from what we can see. You have Ethan Garbers, who's going to be the preeminent starter this year. But then when you really look towards 2025 and what that means, you're going to have Luke Duncan, who I thought was QB2 out of spring football, plain and simple. I thought he was very impressive. You're going to have Justin Martin, competing right there with him neck and neck. And they're going to have these 3 freshmen coming in. You've always said competition brings the best out of people. What does this new commitment mean to the UCLA quarterback room, and how will it affect it moving forward?
Well, first of all, it's exciting, you guys, and thanks for having me on again. To me, when you bring in a guy that is still a freshman, right? He was an early enrollee at Washington. Remember, beautiful Southern California is hard to beat, guys. So when you're, right up the freeway from where I live, up a little bit north of me, and you get a chance to come home to a new and exciting program, like what's happening with Deshaun Foster is going to be even a bigger, like for all the guys that want to go away and see what it's like somewhere else. If it's not going well, we're a great transfer back home destination. We saw Zach Charbonnet. Okay, yeah. Come back to Southern California and play at home. So, and we saw this with bringing in some offensive linemen and Bruno Fina, and it was funny because I'm sure you guys have thought about this too. It's really hard to keep players in the current climate of transferring when you're bringing in someone else that's going to start. So you just mentioned a bunch of quarterbacks, and let's be honest, we have to think about how many of those quarterbacks are still going to be around. Because quarterback's a weird position, you guys. Like there's 5 offensive linemen, and if you rotate people, you can have 6 or 7 guys that play a lot. But with quarterback, usually 1 guy plays, and sometimes 2, but usually 1. So it makes it really, really tricky. But that's why I love this pickup so much. There's going to be young quarterbacks. Then there's going to be, you mentioned Luke and Justin, and then you're going to have, and this is what I really want to point out to you guys. I don't know if you watched it. You watched the Rich Eisen show with Deshaun Foster today.
Oh,
if you guys saw it, Deshaun Foster is hitting a home run right now. I know we haven't played any games yet, but for all the, I've talked about it. I liked a lot about Chip, but I didn't like the way he handled the media. And I don't think he pushed UCLA enough. And I think Deshaun's crushing that right now. But he was great. But if you've noticed a couple times now, he's not. And I love that he didn't announce Ethan Garbers as a starter at the beginning. And he made him work for it. But if you listen to Rich Eisen today, and I heard him say it one other time too, he said, I wanted Ethan to prove that he could pick up the new offense, be a leader on and off the field, and all the things he wanted. And now he's pretty much saying he's my starter. I love that. I love that he made him work for it, but now he's announcing like, listen, this is our starter. And I love that. Going back to the freshman group, they're going to have the chance to come in now and learn a complex Eric Bieniemy offense. I've never liked what we did. I didn't like what we did with Dante Moore last year. I couldn't stand it. He was not ready to play football. He was not ready. It doesn't mean he's a bad quarterback. He wasn't ready. This is a very mental game. Everybody listening out there, if you don't have it upstairs as far as like, it doesn't mean how intelligent you are, but if you're not ready yet, you will die. We're going to see it this year with all the NFL quarterbacks that were drafted. Some programs are going to play guys right away. We're going to be like, why aren't they any good? It's because it's hard, like really, really hard to learn a new system and to play at that kind of level. So I love the gap and the spacing that UCLA has right now. This is a great pickup. He's a 4-star guy. Remember, Ethan Garbers was a 4-star that went to Washington and came back also. Feels like Washington and Notre Dame are like pipelines to UCLA. And
Liatu.
I know. And I have to say one more thing too, because Jamal, I love that you brought this up. When we talk basketball, and I want everybody to understand this, when UCLA basketball is good, it's good for the football program. When UCLA football is good, it's good for the basketball program. I mean, I'm not kidding you guys. When I was in college, we just won a national championship in volleyball. You know when our head coach was playing? When I was in school. Dave Roberts, the skipper for the Dodgers, was playing baseball at UCLA when I was in school. Ed O'Bannon, who maybe had the biggest change that's ever happened in college football, he won a national championship when I was in school. Lisa Fernandez, one of the greatest softball players forever, was when I was in school. When we're good at sports and we're winning championships, it helps everybody. So, wow, Mick Cronin, don't back that guy into a corner. And then with the excitement of Deshaun Foster and the rest of his staff, I feel like, I don't know if you guys feel it, but doesn't it just feel like there's an excitement for UCLA right now in all sports that is awesome?
No question about it, Wayne. I think you said it best. Obviously, men's volleyball bringing home back-to-back national championships. That's 21st overall with men's volleyball, 122 overall in terms of NCAA titles. We had the women's beach volleyball team go all the way to the championship. We saw softball again kind of show its dominance in the last year, Pac-12, coach of the year in that situation. Tennis has been doing so well. Just across the board, there is this sort of domino effect culturally. And Wayne, you were in many ways in the golden era, the last golden era. Obviously, you were the leader of that 94 Rose Bowl team. 95, we win the national title in basketball. And then 97, 98 was sort of Kate's time. I mean, think about that 5-year period and just the domino effect. And when you talk about the university, the brand, the Jordan brand, the values, the campus, the location, the congeniality, what's not to love? And all you need is someone to sort of puff out their chest a little bit and say, we are UCLA. This is a destination. And I think Deshaun's the perfect guy being and so Wayne, kind of taking that momentum, what are you seeing now as you've had an opportunity to kind of absorb the spring and the series of practices, the Friday night lights, the spring showcase? What are maybe 2 or 3 things that you've really absorbed and what you're really looking forward to going into the fall?
Well, so I'll just make a blanket statement about the coaching staff. I was blown away and impressed. We could talk about Deshaun Foster all day. Eric Bieniemy was a great hire. I love listening to Deshaun talking about how he wanted to make a splash with that hire and how he went about getting him. I just think the whole staff, with seeing them out on the road recruiting right now and with huge smiles on their face, like they're enjoying this. Like they're going out there like, listen, we're UCLA. You need to come to our school. And there's this swagger that I love. Like, listen, I know you may think about other places, but this is where you want to be. And so that's awesome. The spring game was amazing. I thought the turnout was awesome. I mean, shoot, I got to talk to one of my heroes from when I was a little kid, Wendell Tyler. He walked right in front of me. I go, Wendell Tyler. I go, dude. I go, I had a poster of you on my wall. The guys are coming back. I mean, we have Wendell Tyler, and then I'm talking to Latu, who's there. Like, and people from all different generations. There's an excitement. The fans seem to really love it. As far as the play on the field, we do have to say this, and it's really important. I played for Homer Smith, who left to go back to Alabama with his family before my senior year. Bob Toledo came in, and he was different, right? I love them both, but he was different. And it was difficult to pick up on some of the new things he was trying to teach me because I just everything else was so easy for me. Ethan Garbers knew Chip Kelly's offense like the back of his hand. We saw it when he played. The ball came out quick. I was blown away from the first practice I went to, which I think was their second practice overall, to the last practice. And how Ethan Garbers, and I'll say the other quarterbacks too, but I actually think there's a gap right now. I think Ethan's quite a bit ahead of everybody else, and that's not a knock on the young guys. They need to keep learning, but it's because he gets the ball out. He has complete control of the offense, and for me to learn an offense that fast, and I mean, it felt like it took me 2 years to learn Homer Smith's offense, and maybe I'm just not as smart, but I love how quickly he's picked it up. The receivers looked better. We already talked about how great the receivers are. Yes, we all felt like we needed to add a couple of offensive linemen, and we did that. Some good players, some good solid players to add depth, and both of those guys might end up being starters too, but they're have to work for it. I don't think that the defense is what's intriguing to me. I watched Jamal practice. I love what Akaika Malloy's energy and what he brings, and that staff, and a lot of those guys are back. Man, I'm telling you, we're getting Toia back, and I think about the linebackers that we had. Someone posted this today, and I love it when people post online really smart stuff. But when you have to spend 2 guys on Jay Toia, and that's not to say that Keanu and all those guys are going to be good up front too. These linebackers that we have that are phenomenal, Femi and all these great players that we have. They're going to be running all over the field making plays, and I just can't wait to see it. So I'm excited. I still wish we had a little bit more depth, guys, but we still have time. There's a lot of guys in the portal still. You didn't have to sign guys during the portal window. Correct. They're out there. Now we may find a couple more to fill in a few more holes that we have.
Yeah, Wayne, a couple things that I saw that it really intrigued me out of spring that I think may be kind of under the radar stuff right now is the secondary. Once again, man, I mean, we had a lot of overturn with the safeties, a bunch of transfer outs, players like that. And you add an Addison who made some really great plays on the ball in the spring-like environment there. You got Ramon Henderson, who's a Notre Dame guy, plugging in. He made a couple picks in, I think the third or fourth practice of spring football. You have that going for you. We know what we have on the outside corners. I mean, Kirkwood nearly made the only pick of the spring practice when he jumped that route, went right through his hands, and he made an incredible read on it. You got Jalen Davies, who we know who he is. He's a very solid QB or a CB1 out there on the other side. And then you look at who can compete for that slot job, Kayvon Wallace, and then the new kid that was making noise, Jameer Benjamin, has been kind of a revelation there in the slot. Talk to me about the safeties, because Cody Whitfield, who was the Pac-12 secondaries coach of the year last year, does not get enough credit for what he's doing with this secondary unit.
One of my favorite coaches, such an awesome person, and the more he gets involved in recruiting, like when I see him out with recruits and he's got a smile on his face, man, we're gonna get some good players. I'll tell you a couple stories real quick about the spring game. I got to talk to a lot of people. I talked to Kirkwood afterwards. I go, hey man, look good out there. How'd it go? And he just looked at me and goes, man, he said, I dropped 2. He goes, I had 2 picks and I dropped 2. So he wasn't all that happy, but man, he looks good. He's running around and he looks healthy. And with that size, huge advantage. You guys, Addison is huge. Yeah. Like, he's so tall. Like no. I'm almost 6'4". I'm looking up at him going, this dude's 6'5". Like, he's tall. I ran into my old buddy who showed up for the spring game, JJ Stokes, who's 6'5". Addison feels like he's 6'5". I'm like, he is tall. Like, it's weird to see, but also built, mature. We know he's been in football for a long time. So I'm very anxious to watch him play. I know that Kay Madrano listens to our show because he came up to me and goes, man, he goes, what are you doing calling me skinny? I said, Kane, you look like a receiver. I just want you to put on a couple pounds. But you know what, Kane? Who cares? You run like a gazelle. You're a receiver playing linebacker, and you're built, and you're an athlete, and you're a playmaker. I hate the measurables. You've got all the measurables you need to have an All-American season this year. So I just think top to bottom, the staff has done a great job. I think Ikaika Malloy's the right man for the job. We've got great assistants. You said it, Will. I mean, all those players you mentioned, they can all play. And I feel like in the secondary, you're right. I don't know who's the starting nickel. Might we have competition? I mean, there's still some transfers out there that could come in, like some that are like we're at our school recently. Maybe a guy from LSU. I don't know if he signed yet. Maybe like we don't know who we're gonna get. So like there's still tons of competition out there, and I absolutely love it.
And isn't that encouraging, man? You have like pretty much you said we could even get better at that. And I thought KJ Wallace was pretty dang good when it comes to spring. Wayne, I know you've looked at some of the transfers as well. We obviously talked about Demaricus Davis. Which one is the most intriguing to you on the surface before we get out of here on a Friday afternoon?
Well, you guys had both these guys on your show. The two new offensive linemen, the one that I insulted from UNLV that I was wondering which one of the players out there was his son. And he said, no, I'm a transfer. I thought, I felt so dumb, but like you want a man blocking for you. And then I don't know how to pronounce his name yet. Unije or Unije. He's huge, right, you guys? And he's played a lot of football. I just think that if you've paid attention to when we've been good, even under the Chip Kelly area, and I know that just mentioning him makes people angry. They saw him out recruiting in Southern California. People are losing their mind, which I actually chuckled a little bit. I don't have a lot of hate in my heart, but I think it's funny sometimes. But to go out and add depth at a position that matters more than just about any in college football, the offensive line additions, I think, are, in my opinion, they may not be the, we have some receivers and we have some, but I'm going to go with the heavies. I think they're the most important, and I think they'll matter the most in the Big Ten next year.
Yeah, no, Wayne, I think you said it best. And Wayne, it's so ironic, right? Football is the only sport, the only activity in life where you can get skinny shamed, So we got our man Kane. We got to make him feel good there. No, but Wayne, I think you said it best in terms of O-line fortification there. And I think as long as Ethan's got time, he's going to pepper it to his receivers. We already see the chemistry with Loya. I think the chemistry with Rico Flores was pretty evident in that showcase. Sturtevant is going to be there with the separation if he's got time. You've got some really great weapons beyond that in terms of Gilmer and Pagan. And then, of course, the backs, Wayne. I think what Keegan Jones can do in this Eric Bieniemy offense, mirroring some of these gadget Kansas City Chiefs running backs over the last couple of years, just adds another dimension. So I think to your point, they've done a really nice job on the offensive line. Maybe there's room for one more. And then is there maybe an opportunity still for one or two guys more on that front seven to be able to sign to kind of get that comparable depth on the other side? And then you're looking at a team that is quite formidable in this conference going into next year.
And I know we're almost out of time, Will, but like I just want to reemphasize. That's why I picked the offensive line. We've all talked about this before. The skill is there. TMA, Titus Smokey Malala coming back. We added a tight end, a big 6'5". It seems like everybody we're adding is 6'5", doesn't it? We're doing a great job. That's why the offensive line matters so much. We got to get these thoroughbreds, and I really think like Coach Foster is being ranked low. Ethan Garbus is being ranked low. Like all this, I can't wait to throw a bleep sandwich from the old movie Major League right in everybody's face. Let's just show them all. Let's go out and win the whole bleeping thing. I cannot wait till next year.
Man, I mean, you said it best, man. 4's up. We get ended on the Friday afternoon on some great positivity, great insight from our main man, Wayne Cook. The Cook crossover alive and well on the Bruin Bible. You guys have an awesome rest of your weekend. We will see you guys next Friday. Keep tuning into the podcast. Subscribe to the Bruin Bible on YouTube. I can promise you it's going to be an entertaining offseason with some of the guests we got coming on. Bruin Bible, we are officially out. Have an awesome